The energy inside the ballpark was electric, the kind that only a Game 7 could bring. Every fan in the stadium, whether draped in navy blue or gold, was on their feet, holding their breath. The scoreboard glowed under the October lights, and as Julio Rodríguez stepped up to the plate, the noise swelled into a thunderous chant of, "Julio! Julio!" It wasn't just another at-bat. It was a moment that could change everything, a swing that could define his young career and perhaps even the Mariners' postseason legacy. Julio took a deep breath, tapping the plate twice with his bat. The pitcher stood tall on the mound, staring him down, knowing one mistake could be catastrophic. The first pitch came, a 97 miles per hour fastball on the outside corner. Julio didn't bite. Ball 1. The tension built. The crowd's energy was rising with every passing second, and the next pitch would decide whether this inning would stay quiet or explode into chaos. Then it happened. A hanging slider spun lazily over the heart of the plate, and Julio didn't miss. The crack of the bat was pure thunder, that unmistakable sound of perfection. The ball rocketed high and deep toward left center, cutting through the cool night air. Every eye followed it as it soared, rising higher and higher, until it finally disappeared beyond the wall. The stadium erupted. Fireworks, cheers, disbelief, all mixing into one overwhelming wave of noise. Julio Rodríguez had just launched a solo home run in Game 7 of the ALCS. His teammates poured out of the dugout, fists pumping, screaming his name. The sound was deafening, yet somehow, Julio stayed composed as he rounded the bases. His face carried that mix of joy and focus that fans have come to love, the perfect balance between youthful energy and championship determination. As he crossed home plate, he pointed toward the sky, a silent acknowledgement of the journey it took to reach this moment. For Julio, this wasn't just a home run. It was a statement, a declaration that he belonged on baseball's biggest stage. Just 3 years ago, he was a rising star from the Dominican Republic, chasing dreams and hitting under tropical skies. Now, he was the heartbeat of a team on the edge of history. His journey had been filled with challenges, slumps, injuries, criticism, but tonight, all of that melted away under the glow of postseason glory. The fans couldn't stop chanting his name. They knew they had just witnessed something special, not just a home run, but a moment that would be replayed for years in highlight reels and documentaries. Julio's swing was effortless, but its impact was monumental. The Mariners had momentum again, and hope was alive. In the dugout, veterans embraced him like a little brother. "That's what stars do," one teammate whispered with a grin. The cameras caught Julio smiling back, humble as ever. He didn't need to say much. The bat had already spoken louder than words. Meanwhile, social media exploded. Fans across the world were in awe. Tweets poured in from celebrities, analysts, and former players. Julio OU became a global trending tag within minutes. People who weren't even Mariners fans found themselves cheering for him, because moments like this transcended teams and rivalries. It was about heart, grit, and pure love for the game. As the broadcast replayed the homer in slow motion, viewers could see the precision of Julio's swing. His hands stayed compact, his eyes locked onto the pitch, and his body rotated with perfect timing. It was poetry in motion, a reminder of how much artistry exists in the simplicity of hitting a baseball squarely. The camera then panned to the crowd. Grown men were hugging strangers. Kids waved homemade signs with Julio's name. One young fan even wiped away tears, maybe from joy, maybe from realizing they had just seen a new legend born. The Mariners' dugout buzzed with confidence now. The players were standing taller, their energy contagious. One big swing had flipped the emotional balance of Game 7. The opposing pitcher could only stare into the distance, replaying that pitch over and over in his mind, knowing it would haunt him for years. The manager of the Mariners clapped his hands, trying to keep everyone focused, but deep down, he knew what this moment meant. Julio's homer wasn't just a run, it was a message to the entire baseball world that this team wasn't going away quietly. As the inning ended, Julio jogged back to center field, glove in hand, greeted by chants that refused to die down. Fans waved Dominican flags, proud of their young star representing his country on one of the sport's biggest nights. The commentators' voices echoed across living rooms nationwide. "This kid is special," one said. "He's the kind of player that can carry a franchise." Those words weren't exaggerations. Julio was proving that he wasn't just a prospect anymore, he was a superstar. Between innings, replays continued to show the homer from every angle imaginable: the pitch, the swing, the flight of the ball, and Julio's composed smile rounding the bases. Each replay seemed to grow more iconic by the second. Baseball is a game built on moments, and Julio's home run instantly became one of those moments fans will never forget. It wasn't just about power, it was about timing, courage, and seizing the opportunity when everything was on the line. Even the opposing team's fans had to respect it. You could see a few nodding in admiration, acknowledging that greatness had just unfolded before their eyes. In the Mariners clubhouse, the energy was electric. Players high-fived, slapped backs, and shouted in excitement. Everyone knew that with Julio leading the charge, they had a fighting chance to rewrite their team's history. For Julio, though, the night was far from over. He wasn't satisfied with one big hit. His eyes still burned with focus every time he stepped onto the field. That's what made him different, his hunger to keep delivering when it mattered most. As the innings rolled on, the pressure only grew, but Julio's earlier homer remained the heartbeat of the game. It gave the team confidence, the fans belief, and the city hope. Commentators brought up his stats, his age, his incredible work ethic. They told stories about how he would stay late after practice, hitting ball after ball until his hands blistered. That dedication had now paid off in the biggest way imaginable. Back in the stands, a group of fans started singing his name to the rhythm of a chant they'd invented earlier in the season. It spread quickly until the entire section was swaying together, celebrating the young star. Julio glanced toward them between pitches, smiling just for a second before refocusing. It was as if he was absorbing their energy, turning it into quiet strength. Every time he came up to bat after that, the crowd grew even louder. They knew something special could happen again at any moment. By the late innings, the tension was unbearable. Every pitch, every swing, every defensive play carried the weight of a city dreaming of a pennant. But through it all, Julio remained calm, the eye of the storm. Even when he didn't hit another homer, his presence alone changed the game. The opposing pitchers worked around him carefully, unwilling to give him another chance to burn them. As the final outs drew near, the fans' voices reached a fever pitch. They knew that win or lose, they had already witnessed something unforgettable. When the final pitch was thrown and the Mariners clinched the game, chaos erupted. The players stormed the field, the crowd roared, and confetti began to fall. Julio was at the center of it all, laughing, hugging his teammates, and soaking in the moment. Reporters surrounded him for interviews, microphones thrust toward his face, but he spoke humbly. "I just wanted to help my team win," he said. Simple, sincere, and genuine, exactly what fans loved about him. That solo home run became more than just a highlight. It was a symbol of youth, determination, and the dream of an entire franchise finally coming alive. As he held the MVP trophy later that night, the crowd once again erupted into chants of "Julio. Julio." The young star looked out at them, overwhelmed but proud. This was his moment, and he had earned every bit of it. Back home, kids would go to bed dreaming of hitting home runs just like Julio Rodríguez. In the Dominican Republic, his family and hometown would be celebrating until sunrise. Baseball, at its core, is about connection, between player and fan, between past and present. And in that Game 7, Julio connected with both in the most powerful way imaginable. As the lights dimmed and the celebration carried on, one thing was certain: the legend of Julio Rodríguez had just entered a new chapter, one that will be told, retold, and remembered for generations to come.